What's up, everybody? It's your friend Isaac. Welcome back to Big Bike BMX. I have got my ride or die best friend, Craig, 80s BMX Craig. If you're looking for him on Instagram, it's 80_. Then if it's on Facebook, it's going to be 80s spelled out. But that's how you find him. What's up, my dude?
My guy, what's up, man? Thanks for the intro, dude. Yeah,
Dude,
stoked to be here.
Merry Christmas to you. Cheers.
Oh,
You
cheers.
guys,
Merry
it is
Christmas, man.
December, LaCroix, fancy.
La Croix.
It's December 28th, and we're sitting back, enjoying the end of the year. Christmas has just happened. It's the end of 2023, and Craig and I decided let's talk about our favorite 5 bikes that came out in 2023.
Indeed.
All right, so Craig, I've got a few rules I didn't tell you about, just to try and frame this. So
Perfect.
because I'm drinking a soda, I just burped. I'm so sorry. I'm probably gonna have little burps. Um, but that's okay. You guys, I love you too. Here's the deal. We're not going to differentiate sizes. Okay, so it doesn't have to be like for 26, I choose this. For 29, I choose that.
Ah,
We're just going to go best, and it's going to be like an overall, right? So it's, does the bike look dope? Does it have, decent parts? Things like that.
got it.
Now, Craig and I are also going to have our biases, because we are BMX riders, and so the biases will come through. I will absolutely call the ones that I have. I'll call my biases out so that you can make a decision. Like, man, Isaac's so wrong because he's making this decision based off of blank, and I don't care about that. So that way you can know, hey, I'm not necessarily like my goals and Isaac's goals or my goals and Craig's goals on a bike. They're going to be different. Yours are going to be different, and that's totally fine. We just want to let you know, like, that's our starting point, our barometer. The other rule, they have to be complete bikes that you would walk into a bike shop, like a pre-assembled, pre-configured, not something like, hey, you buy a frame and fork and then build up your other stuff. We'll do that. I absolutely, if you want to see like what my dream bike would be and what Craig's dream bike would be, that could be a fun episode too. But for this case, complete boxed bike. And that takes our sponsor Supercross out of the equation because they don't have a complete box bike. So you're not going to get any type of, oh, I'm going to pick Supercross because I have to say Supercross because I'm sponsored by them. If Supercross had a complete bike, I promise you, I would be telling you Supercross is the best, not because I'm sponsored by them, but because their bikes ride so dope, but they don't have a complete. So there's my biases out of the gate there. The other thing, Craig, a billion disclaimers, right? Craig used to ride for Race Inc., left on good terms with them. So just understand that. Last year before Supercross, I rode for the SE team. I was on the SE crew. So there's that as well. I left on good terms. I have great memories of SE. And so, there's also my biases that could lean into there because I do like SE. All right, Craig.
Yo.
2023 was a surprising year for me for bike releases. And I'm gonna say, like, I'm basing this based off of like the 2021-22 year where we had like the SE Hoedown. Throne
Mhm.
dropped brand new models with like the DZ 27.5 to go along with their Throne Goon. So there was like some innovation there. They've been doing a lot of switching over. Throne has been switching over to disc brake for a lot of their bikes. So there's a lot of things that happened that were kind of not necessarily the paint or the collab or anything like that, but just technically things that went into bike design evolution. But man, I'm gonna be real honest with you, Craig. I'm kind of disappointed with
Do it.
2023, dude. Like, there wasn't a lot of hype around the bikes that dropped, and the ones that did get hype were like, man, they just fell flat on their faces. Like,
Mhm.
I'm gonna be real honest. I'm gonna bring up the first big dud to just kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about.
Is that
Um,
is that is that I think that's a good idea, dude, to come in with the dud, but you're
I
right,
I just
man.
I just want to share it, like, you guys, like, and it's one of the bummers because you're like, dude, there was some real big, like, wow, that's what you decided to do with that collab. For me, um,
Okay.
I'll bring one up real quick. I'll bring two, and it's Okay. Yeah.
I've got a few duds, if you want to call it that, as well,
Yeah.
unless you say it first.
Okay. So I will say I'll start off just with an honorary. The biggest flop, I think, their biggest disappointment of 2023 and the bikes that dropped is going to be the Mandalorian bike from GT. You guys, I love Star Wars. I grew up with Star Wars. That was the first movie I ever saw in theaters. I am a huge Mando fan. This is the way. Grogu. I got the stickers. In fact, bro, it's right here. I have like baby Grogu's like literally on my desk. I have like not only am I a super nerd, like I made my own stormtrooper with like a Finn first order like issue with it. Like I love Star Wars, you guys. I should.
That's why this is so like it's hard for not hard, but I for you to just put that in that category because you are that big of a Star Wars fan, and I am too. But I know you are like the ultimate fan, right?
Yeah,
I'm pretty surprised. I thought this would make maybe an honorable mention in your list, but keep going, man.
it's making an honorable mention. It's like one of the worst spikes, which sucks, dude. Because like again, I love uh the Star Wars brand. I love everything about it. I'm in the 501st Legion, which I dress up as stormtroopers and go hang out at children's hospitals for their like birthdays and stuff like that. It's the greatest thing I've ever done. Sharing my love of Star Wars and bikes would be the bike for me. You look at this bike and there's nothing that screams Mando. If I show you this bike here in this where it's looking right now, there's the logo on the down tube, super small. There's the crest that he was given from the armor maker here on the head tube. Then it's got some like blue, two pieces, three pieces of blue in the seat post clamp, the stem and the chainring. And then the only upsides, dude, is it has like a cool badge on the handlebars that say, I think Mandalorian, and the seat. And really that was it, you guys. Like there's not a lot of branding or anything that says this is cool. These mags are not the mags that we grew up with in the 80s. These are just kind of, I hope they're good, but like it just looks heavy, uncool. And my other thing, a quick way to turn me off of your bike is to put the brake mounts underneath the chain stays because the rotation of the wheel on a 29 or a 26, excuse me, is much bigger than a 20-inch. And we used to have this on our 20-inch bikes, which is great. But the size of a 29-inch wheel doing a wheelie, you tapping these brakes, that's a lot of squeak that's going to happen right here. Put your brakes
Yeah.
on the outside. It literally just science, y'all. But a black and silver bike, they didn't put, I feel like they called this one in. Like this was designed on a Friday afternoon at like 3 o'clock. Um, there's the seat. The seat is cool. It looks nice. It's got a lot of leather parts, which kind of has a Mando vibe. That's cool. This stuff here, like the Mando helmet and all that, like I guess cool, but you just don't see it. Dark saber details, whatever. Um, there's the badge on the on the handlebars. So, dude, I was just like, that's a dud, man, super dud. Um, but that's where I'm basing this stuff off. So that gives you an idea of where like I'm like disappointed with some of the drops. Like that one should have been just sick, and
Yeah, I
it
mean, if
wasn't.
you're going to put all that effort into creating the collaboration with a Star Wars theme, Mandalorian, you got to realize that the fans like you, Isaac, like so many of us that do love that show, that you're going to want to see that bike and see it from 10 feet away or 50 feet away and be like, dude, that's the Mandalorian bike. Um, it just doesn't do much. It almost seems like you said, it was done on a Friday. Somebody was just trying to get out of the office and put a stamp on it to go, all right, dude, let's get this out. I got stuff to do this weekend. And
Right, right.
yeah, it's tough. It's tough,
There's
man.
there's no baby Yoda on there. Like, come on, man. Like it just doesn't. There's nothing about it that screams like Mando. So there you go. All right, let's kick off.
Well, I want to throw one into the hat on that, dude.
Yeah, dude, share it.
Should we do it like that? Should we
Yeah,
just
go back and
okay?
forth.
So
Yeah.
I
What's
want you
your?
to you just stay on the website, man, because I
Oh,
unfortunately I got to bring up another in my category for the dud of 2023. I'm just going to throw this out there, dude. The GT Pro Performer Heritage Super Cake Boy Limited 29-inch. It's virtually the same bike. Isaac will bring it up here for you guys to check out in a second, but once you do, yeah, here it comes. I just, there were so many cringy things about this one. It's really almost the same. I mean, obviously it's a GT like the Mando. Brakes are underneath the rear. It just, I didn't get it. I guess I'm just out of the loop of like what is current, what's hot. I don't even know what a Super Cake Boy is, even though I looked it up at one time. So I think for me, if we're going with 29ers, big bikes, and collabs of that bike, it just looks like everything that was in the warehouse that they couldn't get rid of, or in the factory in Taiwan, they just slapped together and said, let's figure out what we're going to call this thing. And like you said, Isaac, maybe it was on a Friday or before someone was going on their vacation or whatever. They just were like, dude, let's call it a Super Cake Boy.
Yeah.
So I didn't get it. I don't understand it. And I think that even if I did, the colors are atrocious. So if you have one, hey man, and you like it, great. Tell us why you like it. Tell us the attraction. But for me, I mean, there's so much clash in this. It's pretty
hard.
Hard to look at.
Yeah, it's hard for me. The colorway, I mean, brown copper with red and blue is just it's a weird colorway. I understand. Look, I'm 51, dude, so I don't really know what Super Cake Boy is. I think it's a comic book or something like that. I looked it up when it first came out, like you did. I think it was like a comic book. There's really a great cause behind it. I think it's a pro athlete that runs that has Super Cake Boy or something. I mean, basically, the way I look at it, they made the Mando for my generation and Super Cake Boy for the generation or two below me, is probably what I'm assuming happened. But it's just a hard to look at bike. I just don't understand the collab. I have never seen one out at a ride out anywhere. So I'm really not sure like who's buying these. But again, dude, what frustrates me is this like GT. I can't help but think that big bikes are just a money grab for GT, because like even on their website, it says Super Cake Boy Pro Performer 29. And when I click on it, there's absolutely no backstory on what Super Cake Boy is. It has one picture of the bike, and the rest of the pictures are that funky colored 26-inch GT with the 80s. And I love that colorway, dude. I'll be honest with you. Like that's in my top 5. And so like it's weird, dude. So like this to me is just a huge like bummer, man. Like you could have done a different collab, a cooler collab or something, but just not into it. So yeah, GT tops both of our dead lists. Yeah, just a bummer, man. All right, Craig.
Yo,
let's move to your number 5 bike on your list.
Well, and with setting the rules up in the beginning, I will have to say I did break them out to 29 and 26 just because I was trying to create in case you went with like, hey, what, let's go 29, 26, 27, 5, whatever.
Totally good.
So I'll just round out. I'll give you an idea what I had I'll give you my number 5, and I have to look at what they are on here because I have 26s and 29s. I'm gonna say my number 5 bike is the Monza 26-inch.
Nice, dude. Okay.
Yeah, I did like, so there was, for me, we don't see a lot of Monza. I've seen them out on rideouts. I've seen the riders who ride for Monza, great dudes, good riders. So I know these bikes get ridden hard. They're decent bikes. But the thing for me, I like the way they look, man. They're really nostalgic. They've got that old school vibe feeling. The 24 inches come with the Skyway Tough wheels. And they're chrome, or you can get them in white. You can, I mean, there's a couple different ways you can order those bikes. But the 26, I thought that was a decent bike, and Monza's been around, man. They're actually, hanging in there, and they're getting bikes out on the street, and we see team riders, and we see guys who are putting out pretty good videos. And yeah, I got to say that's rounds out I think my number 5 on my big bike list for 2023 drops.
Yeah, dude, I'm happy to say that because Monza 2 is also on my list. I like the black one. I think that black Monza frame is pretty rad. Now the difference, dude, here in Arizona, I think most of their team, I think like at least two of their team riders are here in Phoenix. So I've got Jordan rides AZ, rides for Monza, and so does Ryan Mays, who is the son of the owner of Average Joe's Ride Shop. So both those gentlemen are riding Monzas. I see them jumping launch ramps into that skate park area where you fell on a ride out, dude, back in the
Yep,
day.
yep. Hmm.
So they will take a launch ramp, dude, in that upper tier parking lot, launch, and then down the hill. So they'll start up on that parking lot, get some speed, launch off the launch ramp, and then land on the grassy knoll below. And I mean they're not light riders. Ryan is a little bit easier and has a little bit more flow because he has a BMX racing background. So like when you see Ryan at the pump track on his Monza, he's doing stuff like manualing the rhythm section and doing stuff like that, doing like float clearing, doubles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Jordan just pedals as fast as he can, hits the jump, and just goes for it. Like how far can I? How high? How far?
Yeah, they're
He's like
tough
a
bikes, right? I mean, these
he's like
guys
a
are
Santos.
riding the hell out of them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they're
I
good
like
bikes.
that.
So I agree with you. Monza's a great choice for the bottom, like that number 5 slot. I think for me, dude, this is gonna be my number 5. I'm gonna go with the Goon, a Throne Goon in the black sapphire. And it's because this Tiffany blue translucent color on the forks matches those wheels. The pedals look like they're blue. The handlebars are a good blue. I just like the way this looks. It has a disc brake, so the brakes aren't underneath the bottom. Great looking bike from Throne. 625 is an easy price tag to get into this bike. And you don't have to do a whole lot to them just to get out and ride. I mean, Throne's big in Arizona because there's not a whole lot of SE dealers out here right now. In fact, I haven't really seen a whole lot of SE bikes this year, new ones. I mean, after the Mike Buff Fast Stripper dropped about a year ago, little over a year ago, that was kind of like the last real big release from SE that I've seen bikes hitting the streets in Phoenix. So I see a lot of Thrones. Thrones are huge up here. I think this is probably my number 5 bike, just because it's spec decent. You can get into a big bike at a good price, 625. And I know that Throne stands behind their stuff because I have seen someone break or just basically rip the down tube off down here by the bottom bracket, and they no question asked, replaced it for them. So good company, cool guys, I guess. I don't know anything about Throne other than DZ rides for them, and they're a popular bike here, and they seem to last. I don't see dudes like the worm dudes that are buying these to learn are going to thrash these bikes, and they're holding up to all the
yeah.
random stuff that happens when you're learning how to wheelie. So I see that a lot. So I would say for me, the Goon Black Sapphire is going to be my number 5
Have you
pick.
ever, and that's a good call, man. I like that because you ever noticed like on Facebook and stuff and some of those when people are talking there's guys who will say something like, hey, I'm getting back into bikes, I'm this tall, I weigh this much, what's a good bike that I can just get on and make sure I like this without cracking my wallet too hard? And the Throne Goon is a great out of the bike box, especially like you mentioned, for what you get and the price point. 625 bucks, and stepping in and putting a bike together and being on the street within 20 or 30 minutes and having some confidence that you're getting a decent quality bike for what you pay for. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a great choice.
Yeah. And it's got disc brakes. It's disc brake ready. So like
Yeah,
the upgrades that you would make that you would think people are going to really be into are like, it's easy to swap out a hydraulic brake for a cable disc brake. Like you
sure.
just unbolt two things and bolt the new one on. Like it's super easy to do that. You can upgrade your bike real easy. I think it's great for that. Um, and that is one of the biggest questions I always get is what bike should I get? This or that? This or that? You can get with this or you can get with that, right?
That's right.
That's what I get all the time. Like today, I just commented on a post on 24, 26, 29. It probably pisses people off. I apologize if I hurt your feelings. Sincerely, I do. That sounded really like bad, but I just basically this dude's showing a big ripper and he's showing a square back red line square back 26. He's like, which one should I get? And you have the typical like get a Bassett, get a get a
Mm-hmm.
this. You know, it's some expensive bike because that's what people know. Or someone's gonna say, don't get an SE because the bottom bracket sucks. You know what I mean? People like to go hard on like, oh, those parts suck. And I'm like, those are the exact same parts on every single bike, dude. But you're just gonna say, oh, SE has a crappy Tektro brake. Dude, I've trusted my life to Tektro brakes and I've not looped out on Tektro brakes. So people are just like, they're not up to my standards. So my reply, dude, was like, hey, before you take any advice from anybody that's commenting, go to their profile and see if they even ride a bike first. Like, do
Yeah.
they just post pictures of their built bike, or do they show pictures of them riding bikes? Big difference.
Good call.
Um, you know, because like there's a lot of posers, dude, that are just giving advice out there based off of like what you know. Like someone will be like, I want a new freewheel. And without even asking, like, what are you going to use it for? Someone's like, you got to get White Industries. And I'm like, bro, he could just be pedaling to the corner store to grab a Truly and back. He doesn't need
Right.
a $250
Well, and that's
freewheel.
the thing, man. It sometimes for folks who don't ride but are really love the sport as far shouldn't even love the sport
Passionate. They're
or the
passionate.
passion of
Yeah,
BMX. The dollar value, the MSRP of the product in some minds may equal quality, may equal performance, or it may just equal the finish and the look, right? And most of the time, it's not often that the most expensive justifies the highest quality or the highest performance. It
all the
just
time.
doesn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah. My thing is this, like, if you're trying to impress other men with your bike, dude, go buy a white profile or go buy, profile freewheel or a White Industries freewheel. And grown men will tell you cool bike. And if that's what you're looking for, that's what's going to fill your love cup, then dude, go buy. You will not be happy until you have a White Industries freewheel that you can ride up and go, White Industries freewheel, guys, listen to it.
Gucci.
I'm cool. It's Gucci.
It's Gucci.
Certified Gucci.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's my thing, dude. Just, don't you don't have to spend a ton of money to get into the sport and have a great time. I'll just tell you that. That's about as blatant as I can be. You don't have to have a profile free will to have a good time in bike life. So
Absolutely.
all
That was
right.
one of the things when you asked, hey, let's do this show and stuff, it was like when I was looking at bikes, there were some who were like really Gucci'd out. And I'm like, I had to balance it out. Like, what would I pick? I mean, you heard Isaac say in the beginning, this is what we pick.
Mm-hmm.
It may or may not, we're not saying this is the gold standard or what. This is just our opinions, man. And we're coming from rider's point of view. We like, don't get us wrong, man. And I'll speak for myself too. I like the way bikes look. I want it to be aesthetic. Sometimes I want a basket case looking bike too. I don't, it just depends, but I want them all to ride well, so
100%. 100%. All right. So the bottom of our five, but still making the list of best bike drops. Yours, Monza 26, me, that black and blue Sapphire Throne. What is number 4 for you?
number 4 for me when I'm looking at this, I'm going to go, and I think this was a 2023 drop. I'm going to throw up the SE Bikes Mike Buff Fast Ripper 29-inch.
Okay. Let me bring
Okay.
that up. That
Yep.
that was I would say that's a 2022, but
Could be.
I'm gonna let you have it, dude, because
Are you?
it's good. Yeah, why not? Absolutely. If you think this is one of them, I have this bike. I bought this bike. Let's see. Yeah. So
I'm I'm okay. So you have it, I don't. So why would I put a bike on my list that I don't own? Well, I've ridden this bike. I don't own it. I guess I'm more intrigued by it. I'm more intrigued because I've done over the last 5 years thousands of miles of ride outs, and I've always wanted to be on a fast ripper or a geared bike during these ride outs.
mhm.
This is strictly why I wanted this bike. Aside from it being Mike Buff's signature bike for SE, that's a big
Right.
deal too. That's right up there. I like it because we're, a second ago we were talking about aesthetics, right? Front and rear disc brakes. It's got a Shimano Dior 10-speed cassette, hydraulics on the front and back, so they're not cable pull. I just like the way this bike's laid out, and the fact, like I said, it's Mike's. The red, white, and blue pop so hard, and most of the graphics on this bike don't fall in line with
Banco.
SE's
Right.
the Banco script, right? So it
Right.
looks like it's outside their norm, their box, and I really like that. So
Yeah.
I guess Isaac, mine's just based on like I really am intrigued by this bike, and it's my number 4.
Nice. Yeah. It's the Fast Ripper font here. You see that is mimicked after Mike's personal. He had a bike painted professionally by a custom painter. Did that kind of, I don't know what you call it, man, like that hot rod racing look that you would see on, like
A guy who would do
crash up,
pinstriping.
yeah, crash up derby hot rods, you know what I mean? Like just it's a cool look.
Yeah, like Evil
Absolutely.
Knievel.
Mhm. It is a definite departure. You can see it up here with the Mike Buff SE bikes and like the pinstriping kind of paint that they have up here. The SE bikes is in a different font in the front. Um, so yeah, hats off, dude, because Mike had to pitch this, Todd had to say yes, and SE corporate had to say yes, and they all got to an agreement to where this would work. And I think it's dope. I think it's a really cool. It sets it apart as a Mike Buff versus just the colorway that I've seen in the past of the red, white, and blue for the Mike Buffs. So yeah, Brand, my wife, this is the bike that she typically rides on ride outs because she wanted a geared bike. I originally got her the root beer brown fast ripper, and then the Mike Buff, the buff dropped, and she loves Mike. She thinks Mike always makes her laugh, so she's like, I want Mike's bike. What are you gonna
Yeah,
say, dude? She enables me to buy bikes all the time. So I was like, absolutely, we'll buy you that. So that's Brent's bike,
love it.
that she likes to ride. And the gearing's good. The only downside, I have a hard time keeping my derailleur adjusted right on these. I could just go and buy like an upgraded derailleur probably and get what I'm looking for, or get, an elite, like a profile hub or something, some mountain bike hub that'll give you like better shifting. But for what it is, it shifts gears, and it will do what you need to do. It'll pedal easy or pedal hard, make you go fast or faster. It's a great bike. Nothing, can't say anything wrong about it.
Yeah,
It's
and
heavy. It's heavy. It's the only thing I would say. But
and you guys, when we're, this is why we did a complete bike breakdown, or at least the top 5 list, because these are bikes that you're getting, we say out of the box or off the showroom floor of your bike shop. This is what comes from the factory. Everything on this bike is inside the box. You pull it out, slap it together. Of
yep,
course, we could do a frame fork and a build uh, from like you said, Isaac, Supercross, or whoever. That would change the whole dynamic of everything. This is out of the box what you get. It's coming with a price point that, if you were to build a Mike Buff fast ripper with all top of the line parts, just use his frame and the fork, man, you're talking $3,000 $4,000 bike easily.
yeah, dude. I think Rick Solens has probably the most expensive fast ripper I've ever seen. He's got like the Bluetooth shifting. His bike is so sick. If you want to ride an incredible Mike Buff fast ripper, if ever you're out at a ride out, look for Rick Solens, Rick and Sandy Solens. They're great people, very approachable. Rick can look intimidating because he's a large framed guy, but as big as his body is, his heart is even bigger. So go find Rick, ask him, hey, can I see your fast ripper, your Mike Buff fast ripper? I heard it's really good. And he will absolutely show you like what is in it. And he showed me, and I was like, dude, this is great. He's like, no, ride it. And I was like, this is expensive. I don't want to ride your expensive
It's
bike.
Gucci.
And he goes, dude, it's made to ride. Go ride it. And
Yep.
so I went and rode it. And that thing is just so smooth, so dialed. You can actually dial these bikes out. Um, if this is your bike of your dreams and you were going to spend a lot of hours on it, Man, I say enable as much as you want and go all in. Buy the Bluetooth shifter because that's going to make you happy. Do it. Absolutely do it. So, yeah, fast strippers are great. No, nothing. I can't say anything about them other than I wouldn't want to ride one. Like I wouldn't want to ride. They're so heavy. I wouldn't want to ride one full time because
Mm,
I can't. The stuff I can do on my Supercross, both of the 29 or the 26, I can't do on that fast stripper because it's so heavy. And it's
yeah.
like that's the one thing. So
I think I was looking at it like, if I was going to do that 300 or 3 day, 100 mile a day ride, bro, and I wanted to be on a BMX style bike,
yeah,
I would love to try that
that
geared
would be the one that and
option.
there's a big electric seat. Like you go in and I'd be like, what do you sell 80-year-old women that want to ride bikes? Because I need a big old butt cushion for 100 miles. So
Enough
yeah,
said, dude.
yep. All right, good call. So your choice, Mike Buff Fast Ripper. My number four for the bike release is a bike that I bought. This is actually the last bike I purchased before I got sponsored by Supercross. But now they have it in a complete bike. This is the 29-inch Haro Master. It's a great frame. It looks like the Haro Master you grew up with. It's going to give you all the feels of the Haro you grew up with. It has the original bars style. It's got DMC on here. So if you're a big Dennis McCoy fan, you're from the Midwest, any of that stuff, you're gonna love this bike. The welds are kind of funky right here. Just gonna call that out. But the stickering on this looks okay. It's the black. It's a black and silver frame. I actually have this. I bought it as a frame and fork and built it up. Now this year they dropped a complete bike, so that's why I'm including it. It's got good cranks, good nostalgia. Like it looks like a fusion chainring. It just looks like the Haros that you had when you were a kid. If you're looking for nostalgia, this is a great one to get. You're going to see that double top tube when you pedal. The wheels are sealed bearings, so you get really good bearings, good stuff going on there. It's got the brakes on the outside, which is good. The downside of this bike is the geometry. It feels very tall and kind of uncomfortable for wheelies for me personally. But I'm looking at it like, hey, if you're just getting back into big BMX and you're looking for a bike that you remember or you always wanted, the Haro Masters here waiting for you, and it's only $719. You get sealed bearings, good cranks, good brakes, good bike all the way around. So that's my number four on my 2023 drop list.
Nice.
Let's go to your number three pick.
Well, and this one was tough because, there's bikes. I'm looking at the 2023s, and there's not, there's from the bike brands like GT and Haro, there's a few, but there's not, I would put ones I was going to put on my list, so that on 26, I, man, I don't think this fits into the 2023 drop because I had the dyno on 26-inch. I had the dyno Heritage Pro Performer. I think we talked about that. That was that one that showed the different colorways from the years in the 80s on one side and then other colorways on the opposite side. I really like that one, but that one's been out, I would say, since 2021, somewhere around there. That was a good bike. Yeah, dude, Isaac, I guess I can just, I could,
Whatever it is, if it's the
which,
multicolored GT or dyno, because I don't see a multicolored dyno. I see a multicolored GT.
I'm sorry, the GT Pro Performer
Yeah.
Heritage.
Is it this
Yeah.
one? Let me show you.
Yeah. Let's see what you got.
This one?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool
So
looking
that, I
bike,
mean,
man. What do you like
out,
about it?
you know what I like? Like I said, first thing I think everyone notices is the colorways. And, I like the story behind that, as I just mentioned. I also like the GT Power Series cranks. I think, it's a full chrome ollie bike, two-piece steer, everything's listed on there in the specs. I just think it's a solid looking bike. The GT tires, that's a nice little nod back to the day. It's a clean looking bike. I've ridden this one and it's very sturdy and
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun for a 26-inch bike and put it
I
out there.
love it. Yeah, I'm with you, dude. So a 26-inch bikes automatically feel a little bit more agile, a little bit easier to ride. They're a little bit more predictable than a 29, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
also full disclosure, I ride a 26 more than I ride a 29. So I'm instantly drawn to this. I love the colorway. Everyone
Colorway's
hates
dope.
everyone hates the colorway. Everyone bags on it. I think it looks sick, dude. There's so much you can do with these bikes. As far as
Yeah, the
like making
upgrade
them look
options
cool.
are endless. The Mohawk hubs. Who doesn't want to run some Mohawk hubs? And
It's just a good looking bike, dude. It's definitely stacked at $880. It's expensive.
right.
However, you're getting good hubs, good wheels, good cranks, sealed bearings. You're getting like that mallet stem. Everybody loves that. We all remember that. You're getting color match bars. The whole thing is dialed, dude. It's a great bike. I couldn't agree more.
And
I think it's a great bike.
there's a lot of online retailers. I'm sure there's bicycle shops. If you have this, if they have them there, this bike's gone down to just over $600. So maybe 880 on this site, on GT site, but you could find this bike probably 200 plus cheaper than this right now.
Yeah.
Solid bike.
Yep. And the other thing I've seen, like Kev and Bernie, I think just bought one of these with that. So GT just got done with a buy one get one sale, because they have so much inventory. They have to like buy a bike from us, and we'll give you another one for free. So a
Yeah.
lot of people went in. That's why you're seeing this 880 price. Someone might have bought that bike for 880 and then bought two of them, getting basically a 440 bike.
Yeah.
And your
Good
friend gets
call.
one.
Good call.
I know that the Cruising in the 808 guys they bought this, they dismantled it, they're going to powder cut it yellow and make an Eddie Fiola tribute bike, which is great. That's
Oh, I
that's
think that's cool.
cool idea.
Yeah. Great
So
idea.
yeah, so again, great bike. I think you're absolutely onto something. Um, Ironically, GT Dyno made my number 3 spot. I like this bike quite a bit, and this is the lavender dyno. I love this color. I remember like the trick stars that were like somewhat close to this color, that hutch color of lavender. Just love it. Dyno's a great feeling bike. You get the pretzel bars, the mallet stem, same power series, cranks, great bike, $800. Uh, Easy to ride. The thing I don't like, I hate the brakes down here. Should have been a disc brake or put them on the back. The one that I rode, I believe, had the brakes on the back. Worked a little better. So good balance bike though. It's easy to wheelie. The one that I rode was easy to wheelie. The gearing's a little bit hard, so you may have to just upgrade your cog or your sprocket to make it a little bit easier to pedal if you're just learning. So
100%.
uh
And that bike there is same. It's just a different colorway than that hazard orange or that bright orange that came out. And that's a Dave Volker signature
yeah,
bike. So you're getting a little piece of that history with it as well.
love it. All right. Number 2.
Number 2, man, is another 26-inch bike. If you want to bring it up, I chose this bike just because, again, it's outside the window of 2023, but it's still there. Is the SE Bikes 26-inch OM Flyer?
Okay. The camo and blue.
No, the blue and brown. You know the exact colors.
If I go 26, the one that I'm thinking of, it's blue with camo pads. Is that it?
Might
Is
be.
it
Can
this
you bring
one?
it up?
Yeah. That one?
Yeah,
Okay.
because I think that was this year's bike. I
I
just
think
like it.
so.
It's
Yeah.
I just like the overall stance of it. I love it's just it for a 26-inch bike complete. You're getting a really good, more than entry level bike. I mean, everything about it is clean. Um, I really have heard no problems with this bike. I even like the colorway. It tips its hat back to SE's roots, keeps that colorway, the camouflage pads and Scott Breithop's bus. I mean, how can you not make that connection? But overall, it's just a clean looking bike. And I've never really heard anyone complain about any failures on this bike or any issues.
Yeah.
Rosie Dayton from the SE crew rides one. She loves it. She's always on it. And Damon, her husband, Damon Dayton, also on the SE crew. I mean, he loves his OM flyers. He's got a ton of
Yep.
them. So I just like the history that's attached to this.
Dude, it's cool bike, cool specs. What I think they did really well. They went with that tough guy blue, right? Or was it buff blue? I don't know what they call it, but that blue that the SE uses is great with the gold and the gold seat post, but like the brown, the two-tone brown saddle with the blue highlights. Then you come up here, it's got a BMX style power wing bar. You know what I mean? Like the
Yep.
SE power wing bars instead of the big honking bars. I hate big honking bars, dude. I hate the look of them. And so this looks like a BMX bike. You got the old school ODI mushroom grips, you got some donuts, pads. If you're looking for just something to fill your retro love cup, this is definitely a good bike to go
And
on.
it's a loop tail.
It's a loop tail. It has that styling, it looks very 80s. It feels very 80s. It's a great bike right out of the box. It's going to fill all of those check marks of like always wanted one. It's a loop tail. It's an SE. It's got good parts. That's the thing about it. It's spec'd really well. So good looking out on the SE there. My next big one, let me get back over where I was at. My number 2 drop of the year. We're going to go back to Throne. And it's the Mr. Cartoon, the green and gold Mr. Cartoon. Throne dropped 2 cartoon bikes. And this is the one I think that is my favorite because of the collab, like the drop down here. The down tube looks so rad. I don't know if I can bring that up. But the coloring here is great. You got the spokes, I think it was 144 spokes. Like it just looks dope, dude. It looks like a Dayton wire wheel. Cool graphics on the side. I think this matches his car. He has a car he painted that's green and gold, and this kind of mimics that. The other cool thing about this bike, this is neat, man. It's got like a little Throne Cycles Mr. Cartoon, like a nameplate badge like you'd see in the back of a
Yeah,
lowrider
like a club
window.
plaque.
Club plaque. They got one there. Clowning on the back. Like it's just a great looking bike. Got some, again, with the pinstripes. Apparently we like that, dude. The pinstripe, if you do some like custom pinstripe painting or something like that on a bike, Craig and I are both going to be like, that's rad. Downside, brakes are on the inside again. No disc brake. Um, I haven't felt how heavy this bike is with 144 wheels. I mean, it's crazy, dude. When you look at the way that the spokes are laced, they are stacked on top of each other, dude. There's so many spokes in here. I don't know how they do it. It looks heavy, but it's such a cool looking bike. If you're just going to pedal around, this would be a fun bike. Gold cranks, gold spokes, nipples, hoops, stem. It just looks good. I like this bike a lot.
I like it too, but one of the things, and I did not have this on my top, only because I lean more towards nostalgic BMX,
Mhm.
but I do appreciate Throne's creativity. If you're, there is a lot of bike enthusiasts out there who want a customized bike, and it's, and if you're into that custom look and you want something that just stands out and you want to pop a cardboard box open and slap it together, you are going to be you know ecstatic about the Throne clowning bike. I mean, it's, dude, there's pinstripes on it, there's the plaque. What other bike of in modern times came with a club plaque for the back? 144 spokes, gold colored parts on it. I mean, it's insane what they've done with the creativity on the Mr. Cartoon bikes. And for a lot of guys out there, I know that that is a very popular bike, and, rightfully so. For me personally, and I do respect you putting it on your list, but I had taken a look at it, and I just can't get past the fact that I'm trying to figure out BMX bikes. And although it's a large bike, BMX geometry ish, it was hard for me to put that one on my list. Although I like it, I like it, but yeah, man, good call on that.
For me, here's what I look at. This is how it made it on my list. I want to own it? No, I don't. And I wouldn't be able to wheelie it. It looks heavy. But here's what they did right. The collab, they nailed it. They understood the assignment, right? if you're getting,
100%.
yeah, like in fact, here's this car, dude, I found.
Oh, you found
um,
the car?
yeah, so there's the bike with the car
That's
right
so
here.
awesome. That is so
Um,
awesome.
but this is what a collab should be, where we get like when I'm looking at the Mando bike, like this clearly has nods to that lowrider Mr. Cartoon vibe. His what he does, what he's about, you totally get it. The club plaque in the back is almost on the nose, almost too much, but it's enough for me where I'm like, yep, you got it, dude. That is a collab bike. The other, like, I can look at the Pac-Man bike that Throne did. Again, cool, cool font here. Run the streets, it's their stuff, but it's Pac-Man, right? So like 8-bit graphics, very, very cool. Throne's collabs this year are absolutely fire. They got it right. I will tell them that. Like the collab game was kind of weak. They got it right. But let's move to our number one pick of the year.
All right. So number one pick overall for 29, 26, 27, 5 doesn't matter. My overall pick of the year actually is the Racing RA29B. I've ridden this
Okay.
bike. I know what it comes look like out of the box.
I didn't even
Not
have Racing's website open, dude. Hold on one second.
okay. And while you're doing that, dude, I'm just going to tell you this. Everything that I want in a rideable bike, from the point of opening a box and putting it together, I really liked what Racing did with their RA29B. This is the Batema forked black and gold bike. Um, everything hit on all cylinders. Um, very nice geometry, great, great frame. I like the well-placed gussets down near the bottom bracket, as well up near the top and down tube. Um, of course, it's an out of the bike box, Isaac. So you're going to get things that are, aside from the red line cranks, right? So you're going to get red line cranks off this. You get flights, which is really dope on an out of a bike, or excuse me, out of a box bike. But where you pay the return, or where the flip side of the coin is, the drivetrain is something that is obviously not what you would expect, or it's not the most quality, but it's workable, it's doable. um the Batema forks are great. They've got that classic Batema dropout and long tubing to it. They look really good. Everything else is just right on par. It, for me, the only one of the only downsides were the six, I believe they came with 6-inch bars. I personally like to ride higher bars. And then obviously, folks know a little bit about the 20 millimeter dropouts and the issues that Racing had with those, but they came up with a solution with their dropout savers. So
Mhm.
the reducing bushing. So, there's that. But overall, I'm just going to say, I out of the box, man, the RA29B was a great bike for 2023.
Cool. I respectfully disagree, but I appreciate where you're at. The thing about the race, I don't want to diss Racing, right? But I really like the concept when they like Toby came on our show, talked about like, yeah, we're making these bikes, right? And
Yep.
I was super psyched about it. When I saw them, when I saw the bikes get released, they're spec'd great. The 20 millimeter dropouts were, I understand the concept, but at that point, yeah, you're out buying new hubs and wheels, because I promise you don't have 20 millimeter hubs sitting around your house unless you're a current BMX racer. You're not going to have that from old bikes or anything like that. I think the black and gold, to me, just it looks boring. And I hate to say that because I don't like dissing anything, but like to me that it just, I don't like black and gold. I I didn't like any of the colorways they went with, like the red with blue, blue with red. I think there's like some white. It just, I didn't. There's nothing that gets me stoked about this bike. I have zero. Uh, I never rode a Racing when I was a kid. I just don't have any kind of attachment to it. I love the forks. The Batima forks look cool, but it's not something where I'm like, that's worth the $799. The original price on these were what, $1,200. So it's just I still struggle with the identity on these bikes. Good side, they do have the brakes in the back of the dropout. Love that. You're correct with the flight cranks. Those are great. The geometry is good on these bikes. I've rode, what did I ride? Did I ride a 29? I think I rode a 29. And it was easy to wheelie, it was balanced, it was good. Just not my cup of tea. Not a big fan of the racing look or colorways personally. So
Fair enough.
yeah, but that's a good point. You make good points on that one. You could definitely win me over. I'm gonna go with I'm struggling for my top, dude, because there's two, well, there's three that made my top three list, and I was thinking by the time we get to this point, I would probably have just said, yeah, you know what? Talking about it with you, I would probably have a definitive winner. And I don't. My top three are still gonna be, and I'll just run through them real quick. Okay. My original top, I'm just going to show you guys the three that I had. I had the suicidal Big Ripper. Basically, this was a collab that I really liked. I think SE did it well. Mike Muir is the one that designed this bike. So it's got the stuff that you remember from Suicidal, the bandana pads, super rad. The Suicidal font, again, apparently if you drop an SE bike that's not Banco font, I'm gonna probably like it. So I like that Suicidal Ripper on the side of it. I like the Psycho stuff, or SE and Suicidal. I think this is great. The tires having their own blue, their own like call out. Little details like that I think I really like about it. I hate the bars, again, big honking bars. But everything else about this bike I really like. So this is definitely like one of my top. I was stoked when this dropped. I thought it looked great. And I've seen them in person. They look great in person. My other top is this the cream Fat Ripper 26. And if the color pops up, let's see if I can get it on here. Come on, SE.
I got to say, while
There
you're
it
waiting
goes.
on that, there we go. Go ahead. You can keep going.
All right. So what I like about this, I hate that it's a Fat Ripper, because I don't like the fat tire bikes, but I like the branding that they do on the big tires. They do like the beast mode ones, the cream on here. I like the pad set, but what I really liked is just the color that they did it with that red crackle paint. And every one of these bikes is different based off of how much time they spent under heat to make that paint crackle. So you and I could both order one of these bikes, set them side by side, and it's going to have a different look. So I love that about this bike. So that's my two tops from SE are going to be the Chrome or the Suicidal. This one gets my nod. I wouldn't want to ride it, but I like the colorway. So that's why I'm telling you I like this bike. If you swap this with, you could easily put like a beast mode hub on here and or like the a 10-speed hub and make this a gear bike if you wanted a gear one. Easy stuff to do off of this bike. So lots of ways you can go with it. I'm just not a big fan of that fat tire. I bought that fat quad back before we were even like before I was sponsored by IC. I bought a fat quad. We both got them
We both
when
did.
they first came out. And dude, I think they're hard to ride. Those big tires, they go over anything, but they just don't feel BMXy to me. So I didn't have a great time on it. But the look of this bike, I think, is dope. Now, this was my third like in the top three for me. And I'm like 26, and it's this black one right here. It's sold out. I like the black Monza. Again, same things I think you did, dude. Like this is a Christmas morning bike. If you were to wake up Christmas morning and your wife bought you this bike and is sitting under the tree, that looks like an 80s bike to me. It kind of has that OM
Yeah.
Flyer vibe, you know what I mean? Where
Right.
you look at it and you're like, yep, that looks like an 80s bike that they just went just scaled it up. So the cranks, the chain ring, the brakes on the back, cool stuff here. You know, I don't have any affinity for the Monza name. It's not like I was like, oh, I always wanted a Monza when I was a kid, anything like that. But I just love the way that it looks. And I think I've ridden one. I've ridden Jordan's bike. And it's hard to tell. It feels very like agile. I mean, nothing feels like my Supercross. That's the hard part. Like I'm chasing what I really like on these other bikes. So it's really difficult for me. But I think this would probably be one of my top ones. Um, the Monza 26. Because I
Oh, good
for my
catch, dude.
death. Woo! That got spicy real quick, you guys.
Yes, it did.
Um,
Well,
and
I gotta
again,
give some shout outs. So like I did it because most of my picks, Isaac, were BMX, style bikes. I'm
yeah,
not I'm not Mr. Collab. I
yeah.
or I'm just I like them. If I see them and they're cool, they're cool. But what I did was gave like two really big honorable mentions. One was to the one that you brought up, the Throne Clownin bike. I just thought that was fantastic for a collab bike.
Hmm.
Like we said earlier, the attention to detail and everything. If that's your thing, it's not mine. That's your thing, man. That's probably the top of the list for 2023 collabs. There's nothing that comes close, in
Yep.
my opinion. And then the SE Cream collab. I do like the fat tire bikes for the fact that they're just fun to get on every now and then. I like the way that front wheel as it's spinning, man. That big wheel just giving so much like centrifugal balance and stuff. They're super easy to ride. I took it on a ride out once, and that was once because I never wanted to ride it again on a ride out. But there's a lot of people who do,
Yep.
and more power to you guys. But yeah, those I want to throw those two out real quick just because they need to be mentioned. You
Yeah.
can't go, I don't think you can go through 2023 and not talk about that, the two Mr. Cartoon Throne bikes. So,
I'm gonna say, dude, I think uh up until this year, Throne Throne was a contender, but they were kind of like they weren't close to Essie's market reach, in my opinion. This year, Throne did smaller releases, like more limited releases, but more colorways, collabs, things like that.
right,
And if I'm being honest with you, Essie did a collab, Billionaire Boys Club. Cool brand. I love Billionaire Boys Club, but the bike, the space camo thing, it's just too far from me. But you guys, that bike wasn't made for me. That bike was made for kids that are into that scene, into that culture. They will understand it. It's not made for some like 51-year-old dude sitting in Gilbert, Arizona. That's not who's that market. That's not who's marketed to. That's not who that collab's for. But so they had Billionaire Boys Club, they had the Cream, they had Suicidal Tendencies. Those were like the collabs that SE did. And then I look at the Throne collabs. Throne had Pac-Man in 80, which is perfect for 80s. Two Mr. Cartoon bikes. They had the black and purple and the green and gold. They had that. They had the Mamba, the
right.
Kobe. They had an Ethica, which is that underwear brand. Cool looking bike. I don't know anything about the underwear brand, but like it's a cool looking collab. So I would say for my big thing for 2024, keep an eye on Throne because I think there's two things I think could happen from this. I think Throne won 2020, I think Throne beat 2023. I think they're the winners for the unique bikes because they kind of, in my opinion, up until this year, they were kind of like that racing. Their bikes were kind of boring. The only cool thing that I ever saw from them that they made was that flame bike, the Block Boy Flame, Blue Flame bike.
Right,
And that
right.
was kind of cool. But the rest were just painted, whatever. Now you see stuff like, dude, I'm just going to share a screen real quick again. So these are their 24s. These are all these bikes are sitting in my local bike shop and they catch your eye. I'm not gonna lie. Like this color bike, the Goon White Rep, right? Was it White Rubik's? That might be something. I have no idea. It's a lot of colors. This bike, this Red Carnage, that I can't zoom in enough to show you like how unique this paint job is, dude. It is absolutely wild. It's like a metallic red camo thing. It's sick. I'll just be honest with you. That is a sick looking bike. Go back over here to the other 24s. This bike, the Purple Carnage. I love this bike, dude. It's bright pink, purple. It's got the purple kind of changing color thing. It's just sick, dude. This bike stands out from across the room. Like you walk into the back of Average Joe's, this isn't the front of the shop. You can see these wheels sticking out a mile away. The 29 Goon, there is a purple, what's it called? Purple. This is a new one I haven't seen yet, Black Ice. I haven't seen that one rolling around. Dude, the Aztec red one, like my buddy 40 rides this one. Perfect, like it's a cool collab. But they have a purple, I think it's called Purple Crush, purple. The
That's the
slime bike,
Ethica.
the slime bike is super dope. This is it, Purple Smash. This bike is teal and purple in certain light. Like there's purple underneath this teal, and it glows, dude, when you see it. This is again just a sick. There you can kind of see it, kind of purplish here. It's hard to tell. You got to see it in person to really appreciate what this looks like. But thrown the colorways and what they're doing, I think they beat SE in 2023 as far as like the colors that they dropped and the coolness of the way their bikes look. And I know that's going to offend some of my friends, and that's okay. I love you guys. I'm just telling you, in my opinion, Throne had the best looking bikes of 2023 as a brand. I hope that also, because, and I'm just going like SE Throne, the rivalry there. And we know there's a rivalry. We know those are kind of the two big, when it comes to big wheeling, the wheelie bike life culture, Throne and SE are the two reigning champs of like selling box bikes. Those are the two brands that are the biggest. And with Throne coming out so strong, the only thing I could think of is I'm really worried about Throne because now that's going to light a fire under Todd's ass to be like, oh, you think you're going to play? Watch what I do. I think you'll see Todd doing some pretty crazy looking collab stuff and crazier bikes rather than just the new bikes. Because the criticism of SE that we all hear, I mean, we're all part of 24, 26, 29 on Facebook. A new SE drops and people say the same thing. Same bike, different color. Same bike, different color. And so these Thrones, they're moving more to disc brake, so they're innovating. And it is the same bike with a different colorway, but these colorways aren't stock, just paint it blue and put some red accents on it. This is like intricate paint work. And so that's where I think that's where they're winning, is with these like metallics and with the extra paint work. And like this, the purple Smash Throne 29, disc brake 625 on their retail 625.
Yeah, that's
So it's about
crazy.
$200 cheaper than a lot of the like the big rippers that are just going to be a single color paint. Now
And
you could
maybe the
do
advantage is, like you mentioned, maybe the advantage is the, smaller runs,
mhm.
more attention to detail. I'm not saying that SE doesn't have attention to detail. Don't get me wrong, but
No, so
just
that's Todd's bread and butter is attention to detail.
attention to detail. Yeah, I
yeah.
didn't want to come across like that, because I know that there is attention to detail there. However, since COVID, bro, um, and the boom that came from that, it was just like, well, let's put out mass quantities of bikes. Let's get the numbers of each, style of bike or type of bike. And it just seems, excuse me, that, now that we see that slowing down, there's backlogs, huge sale or huge discounts for consumers like us to buy these bikes, no longer at, 12, 1300 bucks. Now we're talking 600 again. That's what it was in
Normalized,
2000,
normal prices. Yeah.
2015. Yeah, we were at
Right.
$600. So,
Yeah.
and then, hey man, instead of, V brakes, now we're like getting disc brakes. And then things are changing, and it's good. It's competition. When there's a fire under Todd's ass and there's a fire under the guy running Throne, great, because you two can battle it out, and we're going to hopefully reap those benefits and rewards for you guys trying to one up each other every time. I love it.
100%. Consumers win 1,000%. When brands go at it like this, um, we can only win because they are literally just trying to one up and delight. Like, here's the thing: I've never met Ike from Throne, but I would like to think that I know Todd pretty well. Over since meeting him in 2020, we're going into 2024. I'd like to think that I know him a little bit. It was, what his passions are.
Right.
And I can tell you his heart is so committed to the big bike scene that I applaud him. And we don't have this episode. We don't even talk about big bikes. It was for Todd Lyons and SE Bikes.
100%.
So there comes a level of respect. Maybe it's our age, dude, because like we're like 80 street kids, and like we're trained, like you game recognize game, right? You're like
Right.
you respect the OGs. And so Monza, GT doing big bikes, Haro doing big bikes, Throne even being something we talk about, doesn't exist without Todd Lyons and SE Bikes. So I do hold them to a standard, SE being like the forerunner, where I'm like, you have to get up to this level of like paint on your bikes if you want to go. That's the way that it feels like to me. You have to really kind of innovate in that way. The things that Todd does, but like he's so calculated with it. Like we just watched the entire SE crew go to Japan, and in the background there's a checkerboard Big Ripper that's not like it's hydro dip, but finally it's like it's not, the checkerboards are straight. It's not bending on. They figured out how to do it. Where I've seen some checkerboard bikes before, and trying to put checkerboards on a loop tail is a nightmare. Like because your eye just goes, it's supposed
It
to be a flat
catches the
surface.
glitch,
You just look at it and you're like, something's off.
Yeah.
That checkerboard bike looks dope. And then Jason Morris, Dick Cheeseburger, was riding around on a quad angle, and not the new style quad angle, but like an OG, not wrapped around the bottom bracket like a STR, but it's a quad angle.
Yeah.
So I mean, dude, it's got the double down tube. We've been waiting on that, dude, since what? When was the last time they were released? 2018?
Perhaps.
I,
Yeah.
I
I've
think
been
I think
wanting one. I wanted one when I got a 24-inch quad STR1, man. I was like, dude, I want the 29. And people have been
everybody.
screaming for it ever since.
Yep. And so it looks like that's dropping. So expect the complete bike of the year for 2024 probably going to be the quad angle, because that's everyone's been waiting on that for like 6 years, 6, 7 years for them to do another one. So good up on SE for finally releasing that. That's going to be, I I mean, we're basically doing our 2024 end of year show right now. The winner, the quad angle.
We're now getting into the crystal ball era of
Right.
2023 for
So
2024.
right. So there's just a lot coming from SE. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening with them. So I'm excited about that. And just like hats off to like our friend Christopher for that cream bike. Like I love that, like that's a fan made bike.
For sure.
That's probably why it landed on my number one.
Same.
Was
I
just the
mean,
fact, like same meaning, you understand. Yeah.
I understand.
Like the fact that like a fan made that with Todd is dope. I think that's fantastic. I think that is the coolest thing. Um, because that's like every fan's dream, right? Like you reach out to a company and you're like, hey, this would be a cool thing. And they're like, let's talk. And then it goes on for so long, like so many years. That poor dude was just chilling, like hoping his bike happens. And then it happened in 2023 after like 3 years. And it's, to me, that's just an incredible journey of a bike getting made. Cool collab. Again, I'm not cool. I'm from the West Coast. I didn't know anything about Cream. I didn't know anything about the shop. I just knew like my friend was like, dude, yeah, this is cool. And he and I would always talk about like Brooklyn Machine Works bikes. And all of a sudden he's like, dude, SE's dropping this pretty cool collab, stay tuned. And I was like, okay, cool. I get that from a lot of people. You know what I mean? A lot of my friends will be like, dude, I just heard about this new SE. Check it out. So I'm thinking that's what it is. And then it drops and he's like, this is my bike. And I was like, say more words, bro. And he's like, I collab this. And I was like, come on the show. And he's like, bet. So that
I
was
love
like,
that.
that was it, dude. Yeah. Like I think that is such a cool thing. That's I maybe I have a little bit too much nostalgia for that kind of a thing. And I'm just so stoked for my friend that's why that's my favorite bike. But yeah, the top three for me were hard this year to like go through.
You know
Um,
what? If you know it, when people want to value something, let's say you have a collectible, let's say you have some type of historical item that you want to sell, you know what makes it even more valuable is the prominence,
mhm.
right? The story that goes with it. And so you can't deny how awesome that story is from Christopher Bullock and his quest to get a bike built from a boutique brand that he's involved with. And
It's
like you
incredible.
said, working with SE, I mean, and
It's
then
incredible.
he's watching social media and some kid in somewhere USA just got a new cream bike and he's out there wheeling it and smiling and making his own memories on a bike that Chris designed. I mean,
I tag
dude, that's
Chris in
dope.
every single cream. If I'm on Instagram and I see somebody with their cream bike, I tag Chris in it. I'm like, hey, here's your bike. Hey, here's your bike. You know what I mean? Because like I want someone that's riding that bike to know like a real person, like a dude, like just a Todd and Chris made this bike for you. And
Yeah,
they
yeah.
like emotions went into that. It's not just a let's pick pretty colors, like a lot went into it. So I think that's rad. And I think the other thing, dude, that really surprised me is that like there's I didn't pick a PK Ripper. I really thought I was like the PK Ripper is going to be on
Yeah,
my list.
where I thought you would, man.
I wanted. Here's the thing, dude. I wanted to put the PK on there because that was my favorite riding bike that I rode with when I was on SE. I only got one bike. I got a Big Flyer, and I rode the purple, the black stealth mode, purple Anno Big Flyer.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
my sponsorship bike. And then I basically just transitioned back to riding the PK Ripper. And then I rode the PK Ripper for like the rest of the year. Um, but I didn't put the green PK Ripper on my list for the same reason I didn't buy the blue PK Ripper when it came out. The black and blue one because it's the same bike that I already have. Mine just happens to be like was it raw and black.
Yeah, it's just like a brush
Silver
silver. It's dope.
Silver and black was the one that I bought the first year it came out.
Same.
Jumped in line. You did too. The black and blue one came out and it's the exact same size, spec, everything, just different color. Then I look at the green, the new green one, and I'm like, it's the same thing. It's there's no difference on it than the bike that I have in the garage. So if I wasn't riding for Supercross, that bike wouldn't have made it on my 2023 list because there's nothing new about it. It's different than the one that I already have. So
That's
there's
fair.
that's a difference in it. I think if they would have put if they put power wing bars on it or something, just something that just changes it up a smidge. I don't know. It's just I don't know what to do. Like if you put me, because this is something I've been wrestling with, dude. I even was out before. So before we started recording this, guys, I called Craig and said, "Hey, let's do the top 5 bikes." He's like, "On it, dude." I went for a bike ride because we couldn't record right away, and for about an hour and a half, I was just thinking, like, okay, my picks for my 5 top bikes. Um, I didn't want to offend any of my friends because I'm friends with all these people. You guys like it, you know, Todd's a friend of mine. Monza, I'm friends with the Monza guys. Like they ride, like their team riders are who film, like we film each other. Like, you know what I mean? That's my crew. So I'm thinking about like, okay, how honest can I be? And I was just like, fuck it, dude. This is like really like these are the
Yeah.
bikes that I like this year. If I offend somebody, that's okay. I still love you. I still like your bikes. If your bike didn't make my top 5, that's cool too. I still love you. It just means it didn't make it this time. But I was thinking about like, okay, well, why wouldn't I put a PK on there? And I'm like, well, what would you change about the PK Ripper? Like that bike is perfect, right? Out of the box, it's a perfect bike. Um, there's not a whole lot you could change. So at the same time, I'm criticizing Todd for like, it's just a new paint job on a PK Ripper. It's the same PK Ripper I have downstairs. But at the same time, if he were to come back, if I were to get a text right now, if this was a live podcast and Todd would be like, what the fuck would you change on it, dude?
Yeah,
What
what
would you
would you
change then?
change?
Right? I could just see him like, yo, Isaac, yo, what would you change? And I'd be like, nothing, dude.
Nothing.
And he's like, then shut your mouth, right? So I don't know. I don't know what I would change about it, but I definitely think something. I don't know. Um, I don't know. This will probably be a wild man reply as well. So shout out to Todd. You can slam me on Instagram with your wild man reply.
Here it comes.
Because I don't know what I would change about it. Too.
It's
That's
a
the
fair
hard part.
question to ask, dude, because I mean, it is such a good bike. It is such a solid performer. It is, you know, it was one of the favorite bikes that we were riding before we started riding with bike companies, right?
Yep.
And so, what do you change if the wheel's not broke? Don't fix it type deal. Just change the color of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Dude,
you know, I'm also not in charge of running a bike company and making changes by selecting different parts or changing things up with my distributors. That's Todd's job. That's Ike's job.
yeah.
Make that shit happen. I don't care
We
if you
just get
have
to
to.
criticize it.
Yeah, I just
Monday
get to
morning
sit here and
quarterback.
armchair
Yeah.
quarterback all the things that you do that I like and tell you what you do that I don't. You know,
Mm-hmm. It's funny, dude.
doesn't mean I don't love you, dude.
It's just hard. Yeah, it's one of those things like yeah. I think we should do another one of these and do like frames. Like we'll just do
Yeah.
like if you are a frame and fork manufacturer. I just don't know why we do a supercross. I mean, like, do we just say, okay, besides supercross, what would you want to ride? Because like the hard part is comparing all these bikes to my supercross. That's the hardest part about it.
For me, it would be the same because I don't, besides Supercross, I've really never, you know, built a bike the way I wanted to from the ground up, from a frame and fork standpoint. I have been what we're doing now, you know, out of the box, put it together, then upgrade it type of rider.
Yeah.
That's just the way it's been. So I don't, I mean, I could like speculate or I could try to ride people's bikes who were frame and fork builds, but it's going to be a tough one, dude, because I get Supercross frame and forks and I build those up to my specs. I know about those. So you're not going to top me on that one. Not
Yeah, it's
you personally. It would be hard for unless a company said, hey, we're going to send you a frame and fork and you build this up and tell us what you think.
the down you guys. Okay, so here as we debate and think about like if we do a frame and fork show, here's the problem I would run into because my opinion's all based on riding stuff. So like I know like you probably have to go like okay, what in the top five you probably have to put like a Bassett Bel Air or you know like a Phoenix or something like that. Maybe like a Craig Turner two-piece frame and fork, you know what I mean? They love those things. I personally I don't like two-piece bikes. Like I don't understand that. I understand why custom builders do it because you can now engrave one end and powder coat the other end, right? So you have two pieces of a bike frame, they bolt together and you can do cool stuff. Totally
You
understand
know
that.
what we
But
should do?
what's that?
If we do one of those frame and fork shows, we should get a couple of collaborators with us who do live that lifestyle. Someone who rides and builds bikes from frame and fork, just to throw them into the mix. We're thinking out loud here, folks. Yeah,
Yeah,
Isaac
we're
and
just
I come.
talking. This is us talking about a
Yeah, we're
future
just, you
episode.
know, we couldn't do this later on this evening. So
The thing about it, dude, is like my oh, because I drank another soda and now I'm burping again. Sorry.
keep going, dude.
The I tend to look at the bikes like, okay, I look at like the rideability of a bike. And that's where I always start. Like if I'm on 24, 26, 29, someone's like, should I get this bike? My first question is like, what are you going to do with it? Like, are you
Right.
just if you're just going to pedal this bike around with your bros, get a 29. It's going to feel real big. It's not agile. It's a beach cruiser with BMX bars. You don't take it to the pump track. You're going to have a horrible time. Um, pedal it with your buddies around town. That's fun. If you want a 20, if you want to feel a really great experience on your bike, get a 26. And I'm only basing this off of the Supercross because there's a couple things that Supercross does that no other bikes do. The bottom bracket is lower on the Supercross, which gives you a longer pedaling distance, which makes it easier to pedal. You're not like your knees aren't real high up on because you're pedaling the bottom bracket is fixed down up top. your knees are coming up to your elbows. The bottom bracket is lower, so your knees are pedaling more efficiently. There's that. The head tube angle is steeper on a supercross, so it's tighter in turns. You're gonna have a better time on that. The rear triangle is about 2 inches shorter than most than other bikes when you look at the full like range of like dropout width. So it's shorter wheelbase, meaning you can pop the wheel up easier. These other bike manufacturers aren't like thinking, they haven't been designing race geometry and getting in what, like Bill calls it the pocket, which is that perfectly balanced, you're centered over your bike. You point it down, it's going to go down. You point it up, you're going to float. Like the things you expect your bike to do, it does it because of the way that your body's positioned on the bike versus like, okay, I'm just going to take this bottom bracket, drop it up, put this over here, and design a bike that looks cool, but the geometry, you're fighting it the whole time. That was like a good example would be like my Haro Master. I fought that geometry fights me personally when I'm riding that bike, but it's a cool looking bike. If I'm just pedaling down the street and I just want to ride for 20 miles, like the geometry
It's
doesn't even come
perfect.
into play. It doesn't come
Right.
into play. It's not a big deal to me. So that's the hard part about doing frames too, is I come at it from that. I've ridden like a really good geometry bike, and now I can't, like, if I feel it when I get on somebody else's bike, I'm like,
Yeah, for sure.
it's just hard like that. So, you know, 2024, we've got some bikes coming from Supercross. You guys, you'll see the AMX 250s get dropped right after the first of the year. If you're planning ahead on those, the 29s will have disc brake. The 26s will have V brakes. They're placed in the correct spot on the back of the dropout for the V brakes, by the way. So you're not gonna fight your brakes. I'm using it right now on my 26. Love it. Craig's riding his personal AMX 250, the 29. You have V brakes on yours, but your production frame is gonna have discs.
The
So
disc. Yeah.
you know,
Looking forward to that.
dude, yeah, absolutely. 110 rear and 100 millimeter front. So if you're looking for wheels and stuff like that, you absolutely can. The two hubs I know that will fit these bikes. Disc brake, you're gonna definitely look at the Speedline Killer Buzz worm drive hub. Super loud, great engagement, has a disc brake. Profile also makes a disc brake elite hub that you can use on the 29. And then yeah, it's all standard stuff. So it's easy to fit, easy to get parts for. Have some fun with that. Look for Supercross in 2024 and the AMX 250s. There'll be a limited edition. And then I think they're going to have some less limited frames that are going to be available year round instead of just a limited drop of like 35, 40. But there you go. That's the Supercross update for 2024. That's going to be dropping right around the very beginning of the year. But dude, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out. Craig, thanks for sharing your opinions on the best bikes of 2023. I like that we didn't have the same bikes, dude. That was super rad. I think that was a lot of fun. We had like the Monzas we had together, we had the GTs together. But then the rest of that stuff, pretty interesting. I like that.
It was
I like that
interesting.
we were all over the place on it. So that was kind of fun. Hard to pick, man. I thought it would be a lot easier, but it was hard, man. Like, as you can see with my top 7, I guess is what I gave you guys. Maybe 8, because I gave
Right.
3 as the top one. But yeah, the good news is it's 2023. Bike life is still alive. It's still thriving. People are still meeting up. People are still doing ride outs. The names that you know are still, most of us are still around, man. We're still riding. We're still having a good time. 2020 was something. It was a great boom, but big bikes are here to stay. And what it looks like to me, as just a consumer, 2023 was a very worrisome year for me, because I was like, man, there's a lot of bikes and there's not a lot of market right now. And I was worried about a lot of these businesses, GT doing the BOGO, buy one, get one, Mafia Bike doing a buy one, get one. There's just a lot of brands out there, dude, just trying to dump their inventory. And so seeing people like Throne adapt and just go, hey, we're just gonna do short run bikes. We maybe only do 100 of these Purple Smash and 100 of the, whatever, the Pac-Man bike, but they're getting product out. So there's new bikes that are hitting the streets. So it's almost like we finally kind of got over that weird, funky delivery container shipping wave that was just plaguing the bike world for 2 years or so. It's
Yeah, there should
finally,
be an asterisk right next to like 2020 to 2022 of like, this is not normal.
yeah,
This was
COVID
not,
stuff.
you can't really gauge anything off this. Things were just out of whack. But
Yeah.
man, but one thing that isn't, like you said, bike life is still here. It's still going strong. And bike ride outs, gatherings, all that, is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So
Yeah.
anyone that says bike life is dead probably gave up themselves.
Yeah. I mean, dude, we definitely, we had a lot of tourists that came in, checked it out, had a blast, but man, then they went back to their real jobs. You know, we all started like working from home wasn't a thing anymore, right? The world opened up, businesses opened up. People aren't riding bikes like they were. And I understand that. I don't fault anybody for that. Like,
No, it
uh,
happens.
a lot if you're listening to this podcast, you are a BMXer. You are someone that BMX is in your blood. You're not here because there's 1,000 people at a ride out. You're there if there's 10. And
Yep.
you love BMX bikes. That's why we're passionate about this stuff. So I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see what we see in 2024. I don't know all the collabs that are in production right now. Like I don't know what we're going to see, but I'm excited about it. So
Yeah, and
there we
and
go.
with collabs, I want to see more innovation or continued innovation. Collabs are great. I love seeing what brand's going to get slapped on a bike. But keep innovating, keep making things better. Keep competing with each other so that we reap the benefits as riders and consumers. But more to just keep things fun and to
Yeah,
keep our sport alive. And if collabs do that, great. If they don't, I mean, just whatever works for you guys, whatever make, like Isaac always says, fills up your cup, your love cup. Uh, there's something for you out there, and as long as you're out there on a bike having fun, Isaac and I get it, and we're right there with you.
yeah. I love to see like the things I'd like to see. I'd like to see more rider bikes. Like I'd like to see SE do like a Santos model, a Damon model, a Rickard, a Rickard model. Like, but here's what I would like to see. Like, like Matt's bike he's riding right now is that army gray with lime yellow, lime green. It's that antifreeze kind of color that Knight did with their sprocket and their dude, that gray and that yellow green look amazing. Like that would have made my top five. The gray and yellow like that. That's a great like make a Matt Rickard signature model.
Make a Rickard signature. That would be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, you got hit up Todd. How many likes do we need to get
A
Matt
Rickard
Rickard's?
Ripper. Sure.
Dude, yeah. Big Rickard.
The big Rickard. Woo.
Woo!
Sheesh.
Yeah, and I won't be the person that's telling Todd that he has to anytime Todd drops something, if somebody said like if Todd drops the suicidal, here we go, the suicidal. Someone's like, you copied my bike from like a year ago. Todd
Yeah,
had to break out blueprints, dude, from like 2018, going
I
like,
know.
this is actually our rendition of the suicidal bike that took us 5 years. So I didn't copy you.
Right.
No, but you saw it here, and I took this right out and I showed it to you, and you totally copied it, and he's like, you copied my pads. And I'm like, then I see the blueprint and I'm like, actually, Mike Muir made those pad sets. That's the same logo they've been using on their merch at shows for 100 years. So no, you didn't make that
Probably
bike.
not.
No, you didn't. But that's poor Todd has to deal with that. So like, yeah, Todd, if you do make a team like a rider edition bike, give me some credit. Just be like, Isaac named this. That's funny. But yeah, dude, I think that would I because I look at like remember the mushroom grips, dude. I always bring these up, like the mushroom Ron Wilkerson, Dominguez,
Stu.
Stu. Yeah, like I remember seeing those, dude. I thought that was the coolest thing, man. It was like I got like Stu Thompson's signature on my grips. Did you ever have those?
I had it on the my STR1.
Oh,
I've always wanted a pair of Wilkerson grips just for my collection, but I, that was it. Dude.
dude. I remember seeing them, but I never owned a pair because I was
Never
like,
owned a bike that had
they
that.
were like $5 more than a regular ODIs, and I was like, I don't care about them that much. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm like, I only got $10.
Yeah,
So
let me just get those purple mushroom grips right there. You know?
yeah, I'm gonna get those Amy tri grips while I'm here because they're $1.99. And then I can still get the Haro gardening gloves with the little dots on the bottom of them.
If I save
Yeah.
$2 at the bike shop, that means I get to pick more stickers from under the
Right.
case.
Yeah. Give me that Gerald flip off sticker that my mom's gonna call you about in an hour when she sees it on my bike.
Yeah.
So, all right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. This has been a fun episode. Our best of 2023. You guys, thank you for tuning in this year. Thanks for hanging out with us this year. We're still kicking it. We're still going to do it again in 2024. Have some fun with us. We look forward to some really cool stuff going on in bike life. And go ride your bikes, y'all. Have some fun. You know, this is a good thing to listen to and watch while you're at work or you're in your shop. But if this takes any of your riding time, hit pause, go ride your bike. We'll be here. We'll see you soon. Take care, everybody.
Late.
Ba, ba, da, ba.